listening to the Guitar Mania channel.
Rocky,
Yes.
great to see you back in Vienna. It's almost a year ago.
Oh, it was actually
exactly.
over a year ago, I believe. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's good to be back.
Wow. So how's the tour been going so far?
Well, it's been like all the other tours. It's been very hectic. We've had 58 dates in 62 days, with only a few days off. So yeah, we've been very, very busy.
That's a lot of gigs in a very short time.
Yeah, it's how we do it.
So, and after tonight's show in Vienna, then you will be leaving Austria, and where are you heading then next?
We're going to the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Rocky, you brought with you a brand new album, Rocky Athos Volume 1.
Yes.
Compilation.
That is basically a compilation of all my work that I've done in the past, and I thought that it would be a good time to put some of my favorite that I've recorded in the past on one CD and bring it all together. And then I've got 2 extra tracks on this that have never been, well, actually one that's never been heard before. And that one's my version of White Room, kind of paying a tribute to Eric. And there's a song with Mr. Mayall on this also.
We've plugged your guitar into an amp modeler because we thought of asking you this time around to play us some of your favorite licks and riffs. And could you just take us through your take on White Room, for instance? I mean, how would you play that? And
Well, you know, you do. Yeah, I used a wah-wah on the recording. I wanted to make it as articulate. I wanted to really pay tribute to the original version, so I kind of stayed in the same gene pool as that.
Yeah.
But on White Room, I just did the. You know, it's kind of without the band,
Yeah.
and then the leads. So, yeah, just kind of stayed as true to the original. We even used the timbales on it, the big drums.
can you run us through another song of your record?
Yeah, there's the one that's the opening track is probably one of my best Texas shuffles, and it's goes like this. Let's see if I get this sound.
Wow, beautiful. And you seamlessly weave from rhythm playing into solo playing and fill in.
Yeah.
And what's your approach in the studio on that?
Well, being from Oak Cliff, like I was in Dallas, Texas, we used to do that. We would combine the rhythm with the lead. And my approach is to somehow play the rhythm, you know, keep the foundation going, but if you can fit a cool little riff in there, you know, just make the rhythm happen as you're going, you know, just in the feels.
Yep. And can you show us some of your trademark licks, like on one of the songs that you've recorded and put on the compilation? What are your go-to like pentatonic licks that, or like?
Okay, well, we've got one on there. We did a rendition of High Cost of Lovin', and I'll put it on the treble pickup on that one.
Beautiful, excellent.
Yes, that's one of the riffs of the song. And you know, it's this that 1-4-5 progression. It's a killer song. So you know, so it's kind of staying in the same gene pool of what I've been doing with John, because that's the kind of music I've always loved. You know, it's the rock and blues. And when John asked me to join the group, I was completely like, yeah, that was cool.
The rhythm playing is a very, very important part of your playing. And when we hear you playing, also your solos have a very rhythmic aspect to them. Can you show us some perhaps like or an example that would exemplify this, like when you play rhythm, but like rhythm in a solo, for instance? It's hard because we don't have a drummer here. And
Yeah, that's true. But well, let's see. A good one might be something like this. Let's see here. I got one that's called "Up to the Sky." Just riffs like that, and in between there, we'll throw a lick in here and there.
And what about turnarounds? What can you show us one of your favorite turnarounds that you like to play? Because I think that for beginners, particularly, that is something where it might be a weak spot, and you have to figure out your turnarounds.
Well, I tell you what I do like to do is if you are doing a 1-4-5 progression at the end of your phrase, I like to know that I'm hitting the note that the chord would be. You know, like if you're hitting at the end of a 5 A, you know, that would be the 5. And then you're, you know. You know, like that. So I always like to make whatever the end of the phrase is a beautiful fall note. If that makes sense, does it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, to resolve it in a real pleasing to the ear key.
We have recorded these songs before. It's not that they like you recorded them on purpose new for the record.
Well, knowing that this was a compilation album, what I did is, like I said, I picked all of my favorite cuts off of all my albums.
Yeah.
So actually, think about it, it was on my instrumental album that John guest starred on, and. I've got 2 more tracks that's going to come out on my new CD that will be with all fresh new material. But I did want my compilation CD to come out so that people could kind of hear it all in one gathering, you know. So I thought, well, what would make it interesting? I'll do a bonus track that has never been heard of one of my favorite songs and pay great tribute to it. So that's kind of what I did, and went and cut it for this, for, you know, like an added attraction.
Rocky, you also you did something very special for us guitar geeks. You have, I'm not sure whether you can see that here in the camera.
It's little.
You have listed all the guitars that you used on each single track.
Yeah, I thought that would be really cool. For the most part, I use vintage guitars. I've been collecting vintage Gibson and Fenders for quite a while. And since they've become, you know, kind of hard to keep up with when you're out on the road, you know, a lot of them I leave at home and use only to record with. But I thought it would be real interesting for people who play guitar, because all my life I've listened to records and thought, well, what did he play on that song? What a tone. Sometimes you're surprised when you found out that he played a Burns on that, you know, or something like that. You're like, huh. So what I thought I would do is on each track, I always keep a catalog of what guitars that I played on the songs in my notebook. And so I thought I would add that just for people, guitar players that are curious about these things. So it's right there, every single one.
And you used a Dan Electro baritone guitar on Think About It, the track with John Mayall that you mentioned
Yes,
before.
I did.
How come? Why did you choose that guitar?
It's a double neck. It's an old one. It's got a 6-string on the bottom, and the top one is the baritone guitar. And it's such a cool guitar. It weighs a lot. Not that easy to play, but in the studio it just sounds awesome to like double a bass line or something with it, because you get that middle frequency that's somewhere in between a guitar and a bass. So it just blends really nice, and that's kind of why I wanted to play it on that song.
And what do you like about playing a Gibson SG?
They're so tight sounding. They're very, well, in Texas we all say they're very bitey, real kinky, snappy.
Lots of treble.
Yeah, and all you've got to do is roll the volume back to like 7 or 8. That cuts a little bit of the high end down, and then roll the tone back to about 5, and that's where you get a fat sound. As a matter of fact, I used my 1965 Gibson SG on White Room on this to kind of, at least I think that's what he used back then. This is the one that John guest stars on, and this was a lot of fun to play with John. I actually think John plays the B3 organ better than some of the people that we've all known about B3. John just plays it great. Think about it.
Very nice. I saw you using a lot of your pinky.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah, I usually use my small finger for strength in vibratos, because I like to vibrato the chord, it's kind of a Texas
And
thing.
you reinforce it with the ring finger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, you ever heard Billy Gibbons? He's like... It's that little shake. Stevie did it too. He did it a lot on his Stratocaster.
We meant to talk a bit about your history with Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, I understand you were schoolmates. You were friends from very early age.
Yeah, I met Steve when I was in the 4th grade. I was in a talent show, and I did a couple of monkey songs. And he was sitting in the first row, and he was smiling. And at the end of me playing my 3 songs, he said, "Hey, I play guitar too." And that's how the friendship started. We had something in common. And all the way from elementary school, junior high to high school, we were really good buddies. We would go to jam sessions together, because they used to have group jam sessions at this place called Hit Parade Records on Hampton Boulevard in Dallas, Texas. And it was either Friday nights or Saturday nights. I'd borrow my brother's car and go pick him up, and we'd go sit in and jam with the other guitar players doing blues and rock blues. Way back then, yeah.
Wow. And I mean, what memories do you have of Stevie Ray and playing with him and like starting at that early age?
I've got a good memory. He was at one of my practices, and we never actually played in the same band, but we hung out constantly because we were in the same circle and in the same neighborhood. So it's like, just having a friend that you've got something in common with. But we were playing House of the Rising Sun. And he said, hey, I just figured out how to play that right. And he showed me how to play that when I was a little kid. You know, that little... That's how far back. Yeah, so that...
So actually you set to get down together with Stevie and you traded licks, you traded songs, chords and stuff, and you really...
Yeah, as a matter of fact, and if anybody out there has this, this would be really cool. The very first Texas Guitar Show, we sat at the Charlie's Guitar booth and we did a version of Little Wing together. And I hadn't seen Stevie in about 5 or 6 years, you know, because he moved to Austin, Texas when I lived in Fort Worth. Dallas. And we ran into each other and it was really good to see him. And so we sat down and we started playing like we used to. It gathered a little crowd and everything, but we were doing a version of Little Wing. And we split the intro off where he'd play a part of it and then I'd play the other. And there was somebody out there filming it. I'd love for that to resurface. But that was at the very first Texas Guitar Show. So if anybody's got that, let's see it.
Excellent. That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. We didn't think we'd need it or anything back then, but I sure would like to see it again.
Shall we briefly talk about the new album that you mentioned that's in the making? How long will that take? When will that be released?
Well, I've got 4 months off from touring with John, and the songs are already written, and I plan to go and start recording on them then. So I'm going to try to have it out within the year.
Like within a year, so 12 months, something like that.
Yeah, right.
Cool. So by the end of 2016?
Yeah, maybe sooner.
Maybe sooner.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Look, Rocky, it was a pleasure seeing you again. Thanks for
Absolutely.
For coming again to Austria. It was a pleasure. All the best for the remainder of the
Richard.
tour.